welcome to TopX, where we count down the very best of YouTube. I'm your host Dan, and today we'll be releasing the sound and the fury and checking out our picks for the top 10 YouTube music critics. For this list, we're focusing specifically on our favorite reviewers of music, regardless of their outlet's size. Number 10, Cover Killer Nation.
Oh boy. Time for a video that's not going to make me any friends.
In just a few short years, the man known as Cover Killer Nation has amassed a decent helping of followers on YouTube, while reinventing his own thrashing style and style of reviews. Okay, so maybe the production quality won't exactly inspire Rob Zombie to call him for cinematography work, but it doesn't really matter. CKN is all about the music. He's a passionate reviewer who is all about the madness of metal.
Metallica is an obvious choice, and we're going to go with that choice mainly because this is a band that has underwent stylistic shifts, and I almost omitted them from the list because of this.
That's not to say he only does metal. After tackling Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, he also checked out Earl Sweatshirt, and even he was surprised by his review.
I think that this is an album that many folks will enjoy even if they're just on the fringe line of looking for something new and unique in rap music and perhaps didn't hear Doris by Earl Sweatshirt.
With over 30 years of experience and deep and insightful articulation, let's hope that CKN continues to pump out some of these solid reviews.
So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Number 9, Big Quint Indeed.
I know we're gonna see you again.
Our next entry, Big Quint, is best known for his first reaction videos. Now, when I say first reaction, I really mean it. He doesn't listen to the song or album and then record a video. He listens to it during the video and then reacts accordingly.
Oh! Wait a minute!
What Big Quint lacks in production value, he makes up for in charisma. While he definitely could use a nice backdrop and maybe a microphone, his booming personality kind of fills in the gaps. It should be noted that Quint's videos are pretty raw in the verbal sense. That is to say that he uses a lot of strong language. So much so that his warning that plays at the start of his recent videos is almost too explicit to show in and of itself. But that's his style. Love it or leave it. Number 8, Spectrum Pulse. Alright, so here's a critic who's flat out harsh. Harsh but fair.
But like a couple other tracks in this list, it's also a song that can't do anything with that crescendo outside of the most tired, obvious sample that Nicki could have possibly used.
Since joining YouTube, Mark Groden, aka Spectrum Pulse, has amassed a decent helping of followers, and it's not because his fashion game is on point. It's probably because of his 10-minute Billboard breakdowns, which get right to the point. Sure, he may rush through his reviews at times, and his thundering voice might inspire you to turn the volume down a couple of notches. But the overall production value lends a professional vibe to the review, despite the constant presence of a stuffed animal.
You'd think that being one of the basic qualifiers for being a rapper is the ability to rap. Well, Young Thug tests that qualification to the absolute limit through slurring nearly all his bars into a disgustingly smug mess.
He may seem like a small fry in terms of subscriber numbers so far, but don't be surprised if you see a lot more of this guy in the future.
I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.
Number 7, The Daily Guru. Alright, here's something for you lovers of classic rock. At number 7, we have The Daily Guru, a bearded man with a brilliant mind.
The Florence and the Machine song, Only If for a Night, was written after their lead singer claimed she had a real-life run-in with the ghost of her deceased grandmother. True story.
While he obviously offers tons of wisdom on old-school productions, he also covers new releases for New Music Monday, whether it's the Minneapolis hip-hop collective Doomtree or the Sacramento-based Death Grips, and the Guru drops some end-of-the-week knowledge with Full Album Friday.
Today for Full Album Friday, we're going to check out one of my all-time favorite records. We're going back to 1969 to look at King Crimson's In the Court of King Crimson.
If you're into reviews that are fresh, interesting, and always on point, you should definitely check this guy out, especially if you're into music that's less covered by the more mainstream reviewers.
But here's the thing, there's also hooks on this album, and they're not cliche. They really fit well, and that's one of the hardest things to do in hip-hop.
Number 6, ARTV Reviews.
What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third studio album by rapper Big Sean. This one is titled Dark Sky Paradise.
Our next pick is ARTV, hosted by a young man named John who focuses mostly on rock and alternative music. Because who doesn't like to rock? That's a rhetorical question, you don't have to answer that.
I love how straightforward most of this album is. The lyrics are geeky and simple, but effective and occasionally thought-provoking.
One thing you'll probably notice is that ARTV's videos are quite aesthetically pleasing, despite a rather simple setup. While there's no crazy production trick going on here, the nice background, well-edited cuts, and visual aids all give the videos a very professional look, despite their low production costs. One thing that's certainly appreciated is that John gives you a fair amount of context for his reviews. He'll often demonstrate his prior knowledge with the band or artist in question before delving into his opinions on what he's reviewing, which naturally gives the whole thing a very professional look once again.
Granted, I was 4 at the time of its initial release, and I didn't hear it in full until 2008, a time whenever critics were starting to reverse their opinions on it and starting to hail it as a classic.
Number 5, Consequence of Sound. Man, these guys all have pretty cool names. Don't you just love to say it? Consequence of Sound. Awesome.
This doesn't sound like a super old Prince song from like a B-side from Purple Rain, but at the same time, this sounds like a very modern song, but it definitely sounds like Prince.
This is definitely a channel that's more conversational in tone, with several different personalities discussing the music rather than just one person telling you how they feel. Consequence of Sound typically reviews an album every Tuesday, as the crew bands together for a meeting of minds while figuratively stroking their beards full of musical knowledge.
Because just when you thought you couldn't get sexier than Prince, we have Beach House come along.
Really?
No, not at all. But not at all.
My personal favorite part of this channel is the Masterpiece Review hosted by Nick Fried. That said, you really can't go wrong with the rest of Consequence of Sound either.
In the case of NWA versus the police department, the presiding attorneys are MC Ren, Ice Cube, and Easy Mother E.
Number 4, A Dose of Buckley. Speaking of negativity, this guy isn't exactly known for his complimentary reviews, but then again, that's what makes him popular on YouTube.
On a track and it's still going hit.
Is it? Apparently not. This song didn't chart, it didn't get any certifications, it only got airplay because the aforementioned Cooler Than Me was big 4 years ago and people thought, well, this might be a hit too.
Here's what you can expect from A Dose of Buckley. An angry man with angry humor. He even says so himself, and I quote, "I don't take requests, because this isn't your shitty local radio station's afternoon drive show." End quote.
I don't think I've been this confused about lyrics since the Spice Girls Wannabe, where it sounded like you had to f*** her friends before you could bang her.
One shouldn't expect to ever see Mr. Buckley, but what you can expect is his commentary on recent pop stars and their shenanigans. Case in point, our good friend Kanye West.
As if he's the first guy to think, man, what would happen if a rapper teamed up with a well-known rock artist? Like Run DMC or Public Enemy didn't do it already years before he even had a career.
Number 3, Dead End Hip Hop. It's always good when one of the biggest names in the industry gives you a shout out, and such was the case with Dead End Hip Hop when Kendrick Lamar expressed his love for them. That's a pretty big cred.
This blog called what's that top dog? No, Dead End Hip Hop. Is that Dead End?
When it comes to album reviews, these guys really get into depth with a 30-minute roundtable discussion.
This is more the Kendrick that I wanted. And then when These Walls came on, I was like, okay, so he's gonna make like a whole song about being inside of, you know, some walls?
If you have any interest in hip-hop or rap music, Dead End Hip Hop should definitely be on your radar. Not because they publish every day, because unfortunately they don't, but they really get into depth with their discussions, and the discourse is quite intelligent.
Lil Wayne killed my earbud. My earbud committed suicide because this is the shittiest thing it's heard in over a year.
Number 2, Todd in the Shadows.
Boys!
Who's that tickling the ivories? We don't really know because we can't see his face, but apparently his name is Todd. You probably never thought that a piano-playing, film noir-style music critic would work, but Todd in the Shadows is all of these things and is successful. He's part of the League of Super Critics, and his mysterious ways always keep viewers entertained.
Adele's performances are full of passion. She is righteous. And Sam Smith is just, he's not pulling it off.
Like most online critics, whether for music or otherwise, Todd has a decent amount of snark, but he has a serious knack for getting to the heart of what makes a pop song popular.
He's not doing teeny bopper pop rock anymore now, he's all R&B, I guess. Is he pulling it off? Honestly, I wasn't impressed at first, but I don't know, performance-wise I think the kid is growing on me.
While this channel is obviously not without its core gimmick, it's nice to have a reviewer that doesn't ham it up for the camera and really just focuses on the review.
But yeah, Anaconda is not the hill I want to die defending. You know, even if I like Nicki's part, which I do, this song is just too hard to listen to. It's more like a bad remix of Baby Got Back than a real song.
Before we get to our pick for the #1 YouTube music critic, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1, The Needle Drop.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd.
Sometimes when we do the show, it's hard to pick number 1, but this week that was not the case with Anthony Fantano and his extremely popular show, The Needle Drop.
Hip-hop has been around for decades, and you're saying that because I don't like a handful of albums that have come out in the past few years, I hate the entire genre? Come on, son.
Right off the bat, it's very easy to tell that he has a background in radio, and within his 2-minute introductory video, you can really tell what The Needle Drop is all about. First and foremost, it's his deep knowledge of music that shines through in each review. And while he understands that you might not agree with all of his takes, he always provides a well-articulated argument for each review.
Some of the decent grooves on this LP go a little stale because there's not really anything that interesting going on vocally. I think often a lot of the songs here just fall into the background.
While it definitely helps that he has a natural radio voice, it's his poise and professional attitude that make him a clear choice for our number 1.
The Needle Drop, forever.
That's it for today's countdown. Be sure to vote on upcoming episodes on our Suggest page. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And for more great top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.